Hey guys, Patriot with you for a video. Feels kind of weird. It's been a while since I've been in front of the camera. Sorry it's been so long. I actually went out yesterday to shoot this video and got out there and had a dead camera battery. It's just a rookie mistake. I haven't been shooting video for a while, and I looked at it when I left the house, and of course it's going to show full for a little while, but as soon as you start to use it, it drops like a rock. Anyhow, I might throw in some of that footage so you can see the hills there. I wanted to show you the pack that I took with me, not only yesterday, but the pack that I took with me on my second trip to Arizona Snow Bowl, which is Humphrey's Peak in the San Francisco Peaks Wilderness. And you might recall that I went back in June and really got my tail kicked by that mountain. Took well over 7 hours. So took a second trip, developed a hernia in between because of the training regimen I was undergoing, and had to recover from surgery, and then went in September, towards the end of September I think. I might annotate it. In any case, this is the pack that I was using, and I did that hike in about 5 hours flat with a little side detour that I didn't really mean to make, and spent about 8 minutes up at the summit, and talked to 8, 9, 10 people on the trail for 1 or 2 minutes apiece. So I was pretty happy with that time. I feel it wasn't about the time, but it was kind of a challenge to do better than what I did before. That video, by the way, I will upload after this, and the editing's already done. All I got to do is upload it. So I'll try to upload this tonight, and then the next one tomorrow. So I'll have 2 in a row. Then right after that, December's usually the time that I show my EDC. And it's changed a little bit from what you guys saw last time, so I'll just update that as well. So I should have 3 videos here coming up within the next 4 days or so. So this is the Camelback Mule. It's been a real popular pack, 100-ounce hydration bladder, and it's big with mountain bikers and stuff like that, but it held just what I needed it to and nothing more. The hydration bladder isn't something that I like from a standpoint of prepping and survival. I think metal containers or the Nalgene containers are pretty bulletproof compared to a water bladder. But for fitness and training, when you're continuously drinking, and all the desert hiking I had been doing here, where it's all about the speed, you know, you're trying to make time. I think that's when a water bladder makes sense, when you have to continuously have that water intake for the performance. You don't want any dips in the performance, you want it continuous. So the food and water are going in pretty regularly on a hike like this. This is exactly how it was configured, minus the selfie stick that I was using. Instead of taking the video camera that's shooting right now, I used my 6 Plus. And it did a decent job, and it saved me quite a bit of weight and trouble with the small tripod. $11.24, whatever was in there. The breakdown on that, a lot of that's water. I had the 100-liter bladder in here completely filled up. And so at 0.065 times 100 is 6.5 pounds. Plus the bladder is 5 or 6 ounces as well. So about 7 pounds in water and bladder and the tube. And then the rest of that 11.24, whatever it is the pack and what's in it. So let me go ahead and show you what's in it here. The first is my phone. I don't know that it matters what that weighs. That's common enough. The next thing is my Black Diamond hiking poles. These are the 3-piece carbons, foam grips on them, super light. The set here weighs 10.2 ounces, so just over 5 ounces a piece. They're feather light, and boy do they take a beating. You can see that they really get chewed up in the kind of terrain where I was up in the rocks and boulders and that sort of thing. But great hiking sticks. I love them because they do fold down and makes it real convenient. A lot of the times I don't start the hike on the hiking poles. I get a half mile up the trail or a mile up the trail, kind of get my pace established, and then as it starts getting steeper, that's when I use this is just a little outer pocket where you'd stuff a jacket or something, and that's where I have those poles stashed in there. The next thing in there is just a pair of socks. When I was up top, I did do a sock change, and just to have dry feet is really nice for the way down. The next thing is food. I'm actually missing one component here, and it's the Power Bar wafer. The other thing are the Cliff Shot blocks. I really like those. I went through 2 full packs. I went through a peanut butter Power Bar, and I went through, I ate one of those wafers as well. You'll see it in the video. I just didn't have one to replace it for this. They're feather light, they digest quickly. I really like those a lot. And in here, I don't have a whole lot. I've got some paracord, and you know, part of me didn't want to take this, but I thought, boy, at the very minimum, take along 30 feet of paracord. It's just smart. In case there's some weird thing, an injury, something like that, you never know. So I brought that with. I brought a Meritac AA with a Energizer L91 lithium battery in there. It's 1.2 ounces with this battery in it. Alright, the next thing in here is just some Zippo Tinder. You've probably seen that before. It's got the wax over the cotton and 2 Bic mini lighters. That's my whole fire kit. With regards to protection out there, it's a fairly populated area. The first time I went, I probably saw about 30 people on the trail, and this last time about 20. So it's not real populated. You still see people on the trail, which is the reason why I don't need more extensive survival stuff. And I didn't even want to bring a 380 with me. I just wanted something very, very minimal in case, basically an animal. I wasn't too worried about the people situation. But there are bear up there are mountain lions up there, and if it comes right down to it and something's right in front of you and it doesn't look like it's going to back down and you can't really walk away from it, I've got a little North American Arms Sidewinder. It's a little 22 mag. It weighs 7.5 ounces. I've put some different grips on there made out of corian, but this is a nice little, fairly quickly reloadable as far as these go, 5-shot 22 mag. It's the bare minimum. It's half the weight of the Bodyguard with a magazine in it. So 7.5 ounces loaded, super easy, super safe. The hammer rests on a empty chamber or between chambers. So I have got that piece. The other piece is I carry a CRKT Obaki right on the side, and when this is on your back, I can reach back. It feels a little funny right now, but when this is where it's supposed to be, I can reach back really quickly and pull that. It gives me a minimum amount of of stick. It's basically just a sharp, small stick. So that's always where I need it. It stays in the sheath very well. I don't have to worry about that coming out, and it hangs down just a little bit lower than the bag, so if I need to come underneath and get it, I can get it real quick. And that's the only blade, the only knife that I took with me. It weighs 2.9 ounces with the sheath and everything. And that's a little UDAP Pepper Power, just a small, I think it's a ½ ounce, and it sits right on the little strap right there, pointing away from my face. So that's the trigger side, that's the firing side. Points out to my left. If I have to get it out, I can pull it out pretty quick and get right to the trigger if I need to. So again, just something, you know, whatever. I don't have to explain it to you guys know. I do have a whistle on here, just on a little bungee. I can pull it to my face here if I need to, so I've got a little bit of give in there. Nothing on the other side except the tube. This is just a little pack towel, real soft, so you don't scratch your face with it or your eye or whatever. but I didn't really need it very much on this this second trip. The first trip that I went at the end of June, it was very, very humid. It's usually the other way around. September is the humid month, but it was a little bit dry in September, which was great for the hike. But during my desert hikes, this has come in handy. This is the little, I like to call it the key pocket, because that's what I use it for. And in there, you've got it. One of my favorite pieces of lightweight gear, just a little face net. I've got an old ID there that I keep. Just in here, just for emergencies. Someone needs to know who you are. They got your phone too, but this is a lot quicker. And in here, I've just got, 6 or 8 Advil and some antacid. So, just one of those goofy things. Sometimes altitude, you can get some weird things happening with the stomach and regurgitation and stuff like that. And if anyone's ever had terrible heartburn, it can almost feel like a heart attack. In fact, my uncle had heartburn once so bad that he thought he was having a heart attack. And I've questioned it before, like, boy, am I okay? All it was is heartburn. I don't get it very often, maybe once a year, fortunately. But I figure, boy, you don't want that up there. So that's all I took in the way of medicine. Some Advil and some Rolaids. The main compartment, I've got some TP in there in a bag to keep it dry. This was a completely dry weather trip, by the way. The next thing in here is a power bank. Not a real small one either. It's 6,000 milliamp hours, which will charge this phone. This is about 2,900 milliamp hours. So it'll charge it about 1.5 times. Why not 2? Because there's about a 15% loss in there, a heat loss during the transfer. But it does have a small light on it, and it has a power indicator on it to let you know how much power is in it. And it's pretty compact. I want to say, with the cords and everything, it's about 5 ounces. And the cords are in here. I've got a mini USB and I've got a lightning cable, just sort of Velcro together there. The mini USB, if someone else has a phone and it's not a lightning cable, it's probably going to be a mini USB, a micro USB, I'm sorry. So there's a micro USB on there, and this. So you know, if I ended up on the mountain for some reason way longer than I thought I was going to be, I've got a lot of power to take care of this. Right, the next thing in here is my first aid kit. It's a little bit heavy. It's 6.1 ounces. That's 6.1 ounces. I've got a couple sets of gloves, some large sterile pads, and a pretty good size roll of Coe's, some blood clot, and a nice roll of duct tape in there too. A little bit more than I carry in my EDC kit, but the opportunity for hurting yourself on this trail is pretty good. When you see the video, you'll see me, every time you take a step there's rocks and jagged pieces of granite sticking out everywhere. And if you slip and you put a hand down or an elbow or a knee, it's all volcanic pumice where it's not granite, and you're going to cut yourself. So when I go up there, I expect to bleed, but both times I've gone up, I didn't. I figure prepare for the worst, and if you don't need it, great. Next thing in here is just a couple of hand warmers. These things are so simple, and they house so much power for their size and weight as far as the amount of heat that they can put off over a given period of time. If for any reason you ended up hurting yourself and having to wait for a crew or people to come and get you off the mountain, let's say you break a leg or something like that, where you're not getting down yourself, and a couple of buddies or friends that you meet on the trail probably aren't going to get you down. They're going to have to send a rescue team up. And after you've been sweating and you're sitting up there in 55, 60 degree temperatures, cooling off, yeah, you could get a little bit chilly. And I didn't have a lot of extra clothing with me, so a couple of these probably are going to fall into the medical kit category. The next thing is just a Tyvek poncho. I think this is a Frog Togs. It's pretty small, and It's a full-size poncho, so it's got a lot of surface area, but it is real lightweight. With the Ranger band, it's 2.8 ounces. Wind protection, again, if you end up having it was a completely dry hike and I expected it to be dry, but in case you ended up on the mountain, you need something to stop the wind coming through. And so huddling in this with a couple of heat warmers, I suppose gives you a little bit more comfort, and for its weight, I thought it was pretty valuable. So. Alright guys, well that's everything, except the bladder, the whistle. I guess I can take this off, put it next to the stuff here. So I'll pan down and kind of show you everything I've got. Well, there's everything, guys. Feel free to pause the screen if you want. I got my knife, my pistol, and my pepper spray, flashlight, fire, paracord, food, gloves, hand warmers, net, socks, dry towel, power bank, phone, first aid, poles, poncho, TP, a few Advil, some medicine. I was actually going to joke with you guys and tell you that I took the SE Unglas up there, but ended up forgetting that it was even over here. Let's start with shoes. Typically when I'm hiking in the desert, I either use a Salomon boot or a Vask boot. This is what I wore yesterday. It's real durable, and the weight's not critical when I'm just out exploring and I'm not doing something like the Snow Bowl, like Humphrey's Peak. And they give a little bit more protection over the foot, more rigid sole. They seem to take the abuse a little bit better than some of the trail running and light hiking shoes. But in this case, a boot like this, per boot weighs 1 pound, 3.8 ounces. And then another shoe that I use a lot is the Salomon Speedcross. I love Salomon. They're one of my favorite footwear brands. And these are real light. They've got a super pliable sole. And it's really nice for those trails that are hard-packed dirt or loose dirt and has a lot of incline, but not a lot of rocks in the trail. If you've got a lot of rocks in the trail, you feel them pushing right through. So these, in a way, are like a real sturdy slipper is kind of the best way to consider it. And then if you hit something with your toe, the resistance against deformation up here is pretty slim, and then this is just mesh on top. So a super lightweight shoe, one of my favorites. I've got two sets of these, gray and black, and one of those comes in at 10.5 ounces a piece, so pretty light. I would have loved to have taken this, but because of the rock situation, they just don't hold up, and if you make a mistake and kick a rock or something, which I did, you want something with a little bit more protection. So what I took on that trip was the Salomon Xa Aprill. It's a little bit heavier shoe, still has the lightweight construction with the laces and everything, but a little bit stronger toe box with more protection on the side. A real nice shoe. Super happy with it. A little bit harder compound that doesn't tear out as easy. So whereas this compound's pretty soft, you can see that some of those things tear out a little bit if you get on the granite stuff. This is a lot more resistant to tearing, and has just a stronger sole on it. Still lightweight, a nice break from the boot, but a little bit heavier than the Speedcross 3. Weight on these, 13.8 ounces. So I'm only adding 3 ounces per shoe, and it's all about the moving parts when you're going up that hill. Every ounce counts. These are just Columbia Convertibles without the legs on. Not super lightweight, but they are a lightweight material, but they've got that zipper in there for the convertible leg. That adds a little bit, and I just took a lightweight buckle and belt. So not a lot of weight there. Dries out easy, which is a big thing. Once it gets wet and the sweat starts to get on stuff and then it starts to rub on you and kind of chafe you, you don't want something to stay wet. You guys know what it's about. As far as the top goes, just a 50 SPF Mountain Hardwear sun shirt, and I wear this a lot down here. For there it was more of a just kind of a windbreak. I wasn't worried about the sun. I just wanted something long sleeve and lightweight. This got me started up the mountain. Again, if I ended up above the tree line, stuck somewhere. I've got the poncho, and I've got this for sun protection, which is a big thing. The sun will kick your butt up there, so you want to limit exposure. Speaking of that, I didn't need a full brim hat because you're not spending a lot of time above the tree line, and most of the time I had it off a little bit in the morning to keep my head warm as I warmed up, and then later as I got above the tree line. But this is, I feel stupid, I don't remember the name of it. I'll have to annotate this one, guys. But it's just a lightweight mesh hat. The side panels are mesh, adjustable back, super lightweight, just something to keep the sun from glaring around the sunglasses and a little bit on the head, so minimal. The briefs, I did wear briefs, so I guess you could go commando if you wanted to, but I didn't want to take any chances of chafing or anything like that. I like these Ex Officio brand, and it's pretty well known, and they're real tough. So with all my outdooring stuff, I usually like these Ex Officios. That's about it. Definitely not the kit that you want for an extended stay or survival or anything. You'd want to have something a little bit more extensive if you're just going off into the woods or the desert exploring, but this is just a bare minimum for doing a lot of ascending and without wearing you out. And most of that was water. I filled the bladder about halfway and froze that, and it lasted pretty good. It sounds funny going up the mountain. I think it was in the morning, it was in the 50s, and it seems funny frozen water, but as soon as you hike that first mile, it's kind of nice having that frozen, that ice on your back, and every time you take a swig you get a little bit of cold water. Kind of helps to just cool you from the inside out a little bit, and kind of gives you a boost. It's a little bit refreshing. I think I went through about 80 ounces of water, so not nearly as much as before. The time before that, I went through about 100 ounces of water and was very dehydrated when I got done. But it was higher humidity then as well, higher temperatures. And I started about an hour later the previous trip than I did on this trip. So all of that combined, later in the season, less humidity, lower temperature, starting earlier, all of that combined made this trip amazing. It couldn't have been better. So that's my kit. Next video up is the actual hike. I've got it edited to less than a half an hour. Hope you guys like it. Hope you guys like this. And I'll have an EDC video coming up after that. So probably 1, 2, 3, or 4 days out here. Thanks a lot, guys. Patriot out.